Have you ever helped someone and then immediately noticed a warm glow inside you and wondered what that glow really means? Have you ever felt guilty for enjoying that feeling and asked yourself whether your compassion was secretly selfish? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are stepping into a question that sounds philosophical, but it is actually painfully practical. Can true compassion exist without personal desire? Can you care deeply without needing appreciation, control, closeness, or a certain outcome? And if you cannot fully remove desire, does that make your kindness impure? I want to begin by saying something that might relieve you. Feeling good after helping is not proof that you are selfish. It is proof that you are human. The nervous system is built for connection. The heart is built to respond when suffering is relieved. But here is the deeper challenge. Sometimes that good feeling becomes the hidden steering wheel. Sometimes we help because we need to feel needed. Sometimes we give because we need to be seen as good. Sometimes we sacrifice because we fear rejection. Sometimes we rescue because we cannot tolerate other people's pain. Which means we are really trying to calm ourselves. And when those hidden motives run the show, compassion can turn into exhaustion, resentment, or subtle control. So the real question is not whether any desire is present. The real question is whether desire owns you. Whether attachment twists compassion into a transaction. Whether your care becomes a way to protect your ego, avoid your feelings, or secure your identity. Let us walk slowly, because this topic touches tender places. There is a paradox at the center of compassion. When you help, you often feel better. That is the empathy paradox. The mind might say, if I feel better, I must have done it for me. And then you start doubting yourself. You start questioning every motive. You start wondering if purity is even possible. But imagine you are thirsty and you drink water. Relief feels good. Does that mean you were selfish for drinking? Or does it mean your body is functioning? The warm glow of helping is similar. When you support someone, you reduce suffering in the world, even in a small way. The nervous system registers that reduction. It relaxes. It produces a sense of meaning. That meaning is not automatically ego. Meaning is a human nutrient. The problem begins when the glow becomes the goal. When the glow becomes the goal, you begin chasing the identity of the helper. You begin collecting proof that you are good. You begin needing gratitude. You begin needing results. And when gratitude or results do not arrive, you crash. You feel used. You feel invisible. You feel bitter. This is often how compassion fatigue is born. Many people think compassion fatigue means you care too much. Sometimes that is true. But often compassion fatigue is not only about caring. It is about attachment. Attachment to being the one who fixes. Attachment to being appreciated. Attachment to outcomes you cannot control. Attachment to a story that says if I give enough, suffering should end. And if suffering continues, I have failed. Compassion fatigue can also come from another hidden attachment. The attachment to personal responsibility for other people's emotions. If you believe it is your job to keep everyone okay, you will burn out, because the world is too big and pain is too real. And then you will start resenting the very people you wanted to help. That resentment is not a moral failure. It is a signal that your compassion has been mixed with self-abandonment. So let us ask the first glimpse question in a more honest way. Is true compassion always a sacrifice? Sometimes compassion requires sacrifice. But sacrifice is not the essence of compassion. The essence of compassion is the wish to reduce suffering. You can wish to reduce suffering without destroying yourself. In fact, when you destroy yourself, you often end up spreading more suffering through irritability and collapse. This is where Buddhist wisdom becomes incredibly useful. Buddhism does not treat compassion as a performance. It treats compassion as a practice rooted in wisdom. Wisdom includes boundaries. Wisdom includes realism. Wisdom includes understanding cause and effect. Wisdom includes non-attachment. If you remove wisdom, compassion becomes sentimental and draining. If you remove compassion, wisdom becomes cold and disconnected. The path is their union. Now let us go to the roots of desire and unpack attachment. Even if you are deeply spiritual, your body is still an animal body. Evolutionary psychology helps us see why desire is there. The survival system is built to preserve life. It is built to seek safety, belonging, and resources. It is built to avoid rejection, because rejection once meant danger. It is built to seek status, because status once meant protection. It is built to care for the tribe, because tribe meant survival. So when you help someone, it is not shocking that your system might also be seeking belonging, approval, or security. This does not make you bad. It makes you patterned. The question becomes whether you can bring awareness to the pattern. Because the ego is clever. The ego can co-opt acts of kindness in subtle ways. You might give advice, not because it is needed, but because you want to feel wise. You might volunteer, not because you love service, but because you fear being ordinary. You might donate publicly, not because you want to help, but because you want the image. You might rescue a friend repeatedly, not because it helps them, but because you need them to need you. You might stay in a relationship and call it compassion, but underneath you are afraid to be alone. This is not said to shame you. This is said to wake you up. And you can see these dynamics in the real world. Consider celebrity philanthropy versus anonymous giving. Public giving can do a lot of good. Money can feed people, build hospitals, fund research, support communities. Public giving can also inspire others to give, so it is not automatically ego. But public giving can also become branding. It can become reputation management. It can become a way to buy moral status. Again, not always, but sometimes. Anonymous giving removes some of that incentive. It does not guarantee purity, because you can still secretly congratulate yourself. But anonymity can reduce performance. It can bring you closer to the simple act of relieving suffering without collecting social credit. Now here is the key point. Pure selflessness may be rare, but cleaner intention is trainable. That brings us to the spectrum of selflessness, from sympathy to true empathy to genuine compassion. Sympathy often means I feel bad for you from a distance. It can include pity. It can sometimes include superiority without meaning to. Sympathy says you are suffering and I feel something about it, but I remain separate. Empathy is deeper. Empathy means I can feel with you. I can imagine your experience. I can resonate with your humanity. Empathy closes the distance. Compassion is something else. Compassion includes empathy, but adds the wish to help reduce suffering. And it includes the courage to stay present without collapsing. Compassion is not only emotion. Compassion is a stable intention. Now, what makes compassion genuine? It is not the absence of feeling good. It is the absence of grasping. It is care without possession. This is why stories of radical altruism fascinate people. A stranger runs into a burning building. A person donates an organ to someone they do not know. A community risks punishment to protect someone in danger. When you hear these stories, the mind asks, what motivates them? Sometimes it is instinct. Sometimes it is training. Sometimes it is values. Sometimes it is love. Sometimes it is simply the inability to walk past suffering without responding. And here is the subtle truth. Even radical altruism can include desire. The desire to live in integrity. The desire to be the kind of person who helps. The desire to reduce suffering. Desire itself is not the enemy. Attachment is the enemy. In Buddhism, desire is not treated as one thing. There is craving, which is grasping and binding. And there is wholesome aspiration, which is a direction of the heart. The aspiration to be compassionate is not the same as the craving to be praised for compassion. This connects to the concept of unconditional regard. Unconditional regard means you offer respect and care without making it dependent on someone meeting your expectations. It does not mean you accept abuse. It means your basic recognition of their humanity is not negotiable. In practice, unconditional regard looks like this. You listen without trying to win. You speak truth without humiliating. You help without demanding gratitude. You set boundaries without hatred. You offer kindness without needing a certain identity in return. Now we arrive at the most challenging question. Detachment, the path to pure compassion. Many spiritual traditions emphasize detachment. Buddhism, Stoicism, certain strands of Hindu philosophy, Christian mysticism, Sufi teachings, and many contemplative paths all point to a similar insight. Clinging creates suffering. Clinging to outcomes, clinging to identity, clinging to control. But detachment is often misunderstood as coldness. People imagine detachment means you stop caring. That is not the mature definition. Non-attachment means you care deeply without gripping. You stay involved without trying to own the result. You do what is wise and compassionate. And you release what you cannot control. So is it possible to care deeply without personal investment in outcomes? Yes, but it takes practice. Because the ego loves outcome. Outcomes make the ego feel safe. Outcomes make the ego feel competent. Outcomes give the ego a story. Non-attachment asks you to do your part and let the rest unfold. Consider a very ordinary example. You have a friend who is struggling. You want to help. You listen. You offer support. You encourage them to get help. They ignore your advice and repeat the same pattern. If you are attached, you will take it personally. You will feel frustrated. You will push. You will lecture. You will try to control. You will become exhausted. You might even withdraw in anger. If you are practicing non-attachment, you will still care, but you will recognize a boundary. You cannot live their life. You cannot force their insight. You can offer support. You can speak truth kindly. You can protect your energy. And you can accept that their path is theirs. This does not mean you do nothing. It means you stop confusing care with control. This is the liberating power of non-attachment in action. It lets compassion remain clean. It protects compassion from becoming resentment. Now let me tell you a story that shows how desire and compassion can get tangled, and how non-attachment can untangle it. Imagine someone named Leah. Leah is a deeply caring person. Leah is the one friends call in crisis. Leah is the one who remembers birthdays, checks in, sends thoughtful messages, and shows up when others disappear. Leah is proud of being reliable, and people praise her for it. But Leah is tired. Not only tired, but heavy. Leah sometimes feels a quiet anger that she hates admitting. She thinks, I am always there for everyone. Why is no one there for me? At first, Leah tries to solve the problem by giving more. She thinks if she becomes even more helpful, people will finally appreciate her. She volunteers. She advises. She rescues. She listens late at night. She says yes when her body says no. Then Leah begins experiencing compassion fatigue. She feels numb. She feels cynical. She starts avoiding messages. She starts fantasizing about moving away and disappearing. Then she feels guilty. She thinks, I am supposed to be compassionate. Why do I feel like this? One evening, Leah has an honest moment with herself. She realizes her compassion has been mixed with attachment. She has been attached to being needed. She has been attached to being the good one. She has been attached to receiving love through usefulness. She has been giving with an invisible contract. Not because she is manipulative, but because she is hungry. She remembers childhood moments where affection came when she was helpful and easy. She remembers how her own needs were dismissed. She realizes she learned that love is earned by caretaking. This is the karmic imprint. It is not fate. It is a pattern. Leah decides to practice a new kind of compassion. First, compassion toward herself. She begins saying no to small requests. She begins resting without apologizing. She begins asking for help directly. She begins letting others feel their discomfort without rescuing. This is terrifying at first, because her nervous system thinks boundaries equal abandonment. But she practices anyway. Second, she practices non-attachment in her helping. When she supports a friend, she does it with a clearer intention. I am here to offer support, not to control your outcome. I will share what I can, and I will respect your choices. Third, she begins watching the warm glow. She lets it be there, but she does not chase it. She notices when she is craving appreciation. She notices when she is about to overgive. She pauses. She breathes. She chooses again. Over time, Leah becomes freer. She still cares, but she is not owned by caretaking. And because she is not owned, her compassion becomes more sustainable. Her friendships also change. Some people drift away when she stops rescuing. That hurts, but it also reveals truth. The relationships that remain become more mutual. Leah becomes less bitter. She becomes more peaceful. This is non-attachment creating pure compassion. Not pure as imperfect. Pure as in less contaminated by craving and control. Now let us move beyond the self. The future of compassion. Can we cultivate compassion that transcends personal gain? Yes, but we must be realistic. The ego does not disappear overnight. The goal is not to erase the self. The goal is to see through the illusion that the self must always be protected at the expense of others. In Buddhism, compassion grows as wisdom grows. Wisdom sees interdependence. Your well-being is tied to the well-being of others. When you reduce suffering in the world, you reduce suffering in the field you live inside. This is not moralism. It is ecology of mind. But we still need practical steps, because without practice, these words remain pretty ideas. Here are a few practices you can do in real life that gradually reduce attachment and increase clean compassion. The first practice is mindfulness of intention. Before you help, pause and ask, what is my intention? Am I helping to be seen? Am I helping to avoid guilt? Am I helping to feel superior? Am I helping to control? Or am I helping because suffering is here and I can reduce it? If the intention is mixed, do not shame yourself. Just see it. Seeing is already a shift. Then ask, can I adjust the intention? Can I help without needing applause? Can I help without needing the person to behave a certain way? Can I help without abandoning myself? The second practice is compassionate perspective taking. When you feel reactive online or in person, imagine the other person's fear. This does not excuse harm, but it softens hatred. Softening hatred protects your heart. A protected heart can keep caring. The third practice is boundaries as compassion. Many people think boundaries are selfish, but boundaries can be compassionate because they prevent resentment. When you overgive and then resent, you will eventually explode or withdraw. And that creates harm. A boundary prevents that harm. A boundary is a way of saying I want to keep caring, so I must care wisely. The fourth practice is letting go of outcome. Do the right action you can do. Then release the rest. If you donate, do it and release needing praise. If you apologize, do it and release needing immediate forgiveness. If you support someone, do it and release needing them to transform overnight. This is where freedom enters. The fifth practice is compassion meditation. You can practice simple phrases for yourself and others. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering. May I live with ease. Then extend it outward. May you be safe. May you be peaceful. May you be free from suffering. May you live with ease. This practice trains the heart to wish well without needing a reward. Now, one more important point. Is true compassion always a sacrifice? Sometimes compassion asks you to do hard things. But the deepest form of compassion often feels like alignment, not sacrifice. It feels like you are acting in accordance with what matters. It can still be tiring, but it is a clean tired, not a resentful tired. Resentful tired often means attachment is present. Clean tired often means you gave within your capacity. So how do you tell the difference? If you help and then feel bitter, check whether you expected something back. If you help and then feel drained and invisible, check whether you abandoned your needs. If you help and then feel calm and grounded, that is often clean compassion. If you help and then feel anxious about whether you will be appreciated, that is often attachment. This does not mean you stop helping. It means you refine how you help. Now let us imagine a world truly driven by selfless connection. This is not naive. It is a direction. Even small shifts in collective compassion change everything. Families become safer. Workplaces become less toxic. Politics becomes less dehumanizing. Online spaces become less cruel. Communities become more resilient. But it begins with individual practice, not heroic self-sacrifice. Daily non-attachment, daily mindfulness, daily choice. So here is a final reflection that might change how you relate to your own compassion. What if the goal is not to remove all personal desire? What if the goal is to remove the need to make compassion about you? Because compassion does not need your ego to be pure. Compassion needs your presence. Compassion needs your honesty. Compassion needs your courage. Compassion needs your willingness to see suffering without turning away. When you help, let the warm glow arise. Let it pass. Do not cling. Do not judge. Keep the intention clean. Keep the boundaries clear. Keep the heart open. That is the middle way. Now I want to ask you something. When you help someone, what do you secretly hope to receive back from them or from the world? And what would change in your life if you practiced helping without that expectation? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you want more long-form conversations about karma, compassion, non-attachment, and how to live these teachings in modern life, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment so more people can find this work. If you want to support the channel even more, you can join the channel membership. Until next time, stay mindful, stay compassionate, and remember this. True compassion is not cold. True compassion is free. It cares deeply, and it does not cling.
Life gets noisy. Work, stress, expectations. Sometimes we lose touch with the quiet part of ourselves. Bracelet isn't just an accessory. It's a small reminder that you deserve peace. You deserve moments of stillness. You deserve to hold on to your inner balance. If one of these bracelets speaks to your heart, you'll find the purchase link in the description below. And even more auctions available on our channel's shop page. Pick home the one that feels right.